Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's explainer. We're going to explore a profoundly moving narrative today. Now, on its surface, you might think it's just a story about a lost dog, but at its core, it is a truly powerful study on sacrifice, empathy, and the absolutely incredible ripple effect of hope. We are going to look at how the smallest, seemingly insignificant choices can literally alter the trajectory of multiple lives. So, let's get right into it. Picture this. Our story begins in a freezing, almost painfully apathetic setting. Snow is falling heavily over the city, but, the physical cold of the weather, it's honestly matched only by the coldness of the passing crowd. Imagine a busy supermarket entrance. People are just rushing by with their shopping bags, totally bundled up in warm coats, faces completely glued to their screens. And right there, sitting all alone beside a frozen brick wall, is a tiny brown and white puppy. His fur is soaked, he's shaking nonstop, and he's letting out these weak, lonely little cries. And yet, hundreds of people are just walking right past him. And it gets worse, because this apathy actually crosses over into outright cruelty. Some people glance over for a split second and just keep walking. Others pretend he literally doesn't exist. And one passing boy even laughs, points, and calls him an ugly stray dog. The puppy just lowers his head. He's starving, sure, but the source material makes a great point. More than food, he just wanted someone to care. And right at the peak of this heartbreaking scene, out of this whole crowd, a 10-year-old girl finally stops. Her name is Lily. Now, to really grasp the weight of what happens next, we have to look at Lily's reality. Remember, she's only 10. She lives with her sick grandmother in a tiny apartment, and money is a constant daily struggle. Her shoes are old and slightly torn, her coat is way too thin for the winter snow, and she's holding a paper bag that contains her only food for the entire day. One small sandwich. That's it. She hasn't eaten a single thing since morning. Her stomach is actively growling. But when she sees this freezing, helpless puppy, she makes an immediate, completely selfless decision. She breaks her only sandwich in half and gives the bigger piece to the puppy. I mean, what an incredibly impactful moment of sacrifice. So after he eats, the puppy just starts following Lily, and she makes the choice to bring him home through the freezing streets. But she knows there's going to be friction, right? When she opens the door to their dim, poorly heated apartment, her grandmother is sitting by the window, totally wrapped up in blankets. Seeing the dog, her grandmother's understandable hesitation comes out in a pretty heartbreaking realization. We barely have enough food for ourselves. It's just the harsh, practical truth of poverty. But then, the puppy slowly walks over and just rests his tiny head right on the grandmother's feet. Her face instantly softens, and just like that, she lets the puppy stay. And this brilliantly illustrates the central thematic contrast of our story. We've basically got two totally different worlds existing in the exact same city. On one side, we have Lily, tiny apartment, weak broken heater, empty kitchen shelves, but suddenly it's a space filled with newfound warmth, coziness, and love, all because of this little puppy. On the other side of the city, we have a man named Daniel. Now, Daniel lives in a massive, gorgeous house with vast wealth, but his world, it's completely empty, totally silent, and just overwhelmingly cold. Well, Daniel's world is so cold because of a profound, unimaginable tragedy. 6 months ago, Daniel's son, Ethan, passed away in a terrible car accident. And immediately after that devastating loss, Ethan's beloved puppy disappeared. Over the next several months, Daniel searched absolutely everywhere. He put up posters, scoured internet posts, visited every animal shelter, but found nothing. So now, in the present day, Daniel just sits alone in that massive house, staring at an old photo of his son holding that exact puppy, almost totally losing hope. Because you see, this missing puppy isn't just a pet. It is literally the absolute last tether Daniel has to his late son. Meanwhile, back in Lily's world, the puppy, who she's happily named Snowy, has become a beloved part of her little family. But Lily's smart. She starts to notice that Snowy is really well trained. He understands commands. So she realizes, hey, someone must be missing him. After school, she heads down to the local library to use the free internet to search for lost puppies. And suddenly, she just freezes. A photo pops up on the screen. It's Snowy. And right beneath the photo is this desperate plea. Missing puppy, reward offered. His name is Max. He belonged to my late son. Please bring him home. In an instant, Lily realizes her beloved Snowy already has a family. Which brings us to a really profound moral dilemma. I want you to pause and put yourself in a 10-year-old's shoes for just a second. Do you keep the puppy and stay happy, or do you return him to a grieving father? Remember, for Lily, keeping this dog was her first taste of genuine happiness in years. She strokes his fur that night, just crying her eyes out, knowing exactly how much she's going to miss him if she gives him back. It is a massive, heavy internal struggle between her own personal joy and doing the right thing. But Lily has a beautifully strong moral compass, heavily influenced by her grandmother's wisdom. She remembers her grandmother telling her real kindness means doing the right thing even when it hurts, and she chooses integrity over her own comfort. The very next morning, she bravely picks up the phone, calls the number on that missing poster, and speaks to a very nervous-sounding man. When she softly tells him she thinks she found his puppy, the man on the other end literally breaks down crying. That same evening, a sleek black car slowly pulls up outside Lily's apartment building. Daniel steps out, and you can see his hands are just trembling. The second Lily opens the door, the puppy barks loudly and sprints right to him. Daniel instantly falls to his knees, hugging the dog tight, and for the first time in months, he genuinely smiles. But then he looks around. He sees the broken heater. He sees the empty shelves, the old threadbare blankets. He looks at Lily and says, "You took care of him, even though you had almost nothing." He immediately recognizes the absolute pure selflessness of what this little girl has done. Daniel looks at Lily, his eyes just full of emotion, and tells her, "My son loved this puppy more than anything. You gave me back the last piece of him." So the crucial point is, Lily thought she was just returning a lost dog. She had no idea that by sacrificing her own happiness, she was actually saving a grieving father's spirit. She was reconnecting him to the memory of his child. It's just incredible. The next morning, Daniel comes back to the apartment, but this time, he's not alone. He brings workers carrying boxes, and he completely transforms Lily's life out of sheer gratitude. I mean, it's a remarkable transformation. Groceries, warm clothes, a brand new working heater. He completely pays for all the crucial medicine and treatments for Lily's grandmother. He gets Lily enrolled in his significantly better school. And perhaps most touchingly, he builds her a dedicated study and art room, telling her it's for her future. When Lily cries and tells him no one has ever done anything like this for her, Daniel simply replies that his son would have wanted this. Let's move to and see how this builds, because the story doesn't just stop with Daniel's reward. It creates this absolutely stunning chain reaction. Step 1, Lily sacrifices her meal to feed the puppy. Step 2, she sacrifices her happiness to return him. Step 3, Daniel steps in and transforms her life. But step 4, that is where the true legacy is cemented. We see Lily on another snowy evening, but this time she has a warm coat. She's holding hot food. She spots a homeless person sitting all alone in the cold outside that exact same supermarket, totally ignored by everyone walking by. And Lily slowly walks over and shares her food. She pays it forward. Which brings us to our final takeaway for this explainer. One act of kindness can change everything. The world changes because of hearts like Lily's. Empathy is totally cyclical, guys. When you put good out into the world, even when you feel like you have almost nothing to give, it creates a legacy that completely outlives that single moment. So I'll leave you with this. What kind of chain reaction could you start today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep seeking out those great stories, and I will see you next time.